Hello and welcome to a stream type thing, you know, that thing I do occasionally when I remember about it, which I should remember to do more often, but don't. But maybe will someday, but probably not. Anyway, so we had some nice cheerful Bach to toot us in, and I guess this is an appropriate port, kinda. London port, the Union Jacks everywhere. Yeah, it's Brexit Day. Hooray. Hooray. Oddly enough, my Brexit unicorn hasn't actually arrived in the post yet, but I'm sure it'll get here any moment now. As will everybody else's, of course. Because we were promised all of the unicorns by the Brexit supporting politicians, and I'm sure they wouldn't have lied to us for their own, you know, cynical, narcissistic political gain. That wouldn't be like politicians at all, would it? No. Anyway, I'm actually starting off on my NA account just to play a game or two with the New Year, the Lunar New Year containers. I got a couple of days of premium out of it, so this is kind of the current ship I'm grinding, as much as I'm grinding anything. And I'll probably play a game in the Moskva as well, because it's got a perma camo and therefore makes a decent credits. And it's also a ship, despite me now having unlocked it for a while, I don't really play it very much because it is over here on my NA account. And also, I never quite know what to do in it. I do have all the... I used some of the doubloons that Wargaming bestows on us occasionally, Brett, to get some of the doubloon bundles. It took a little while to get all of them, but yeah, I had like 80,000 doubloons or something like that, ridiculous, stacked up. So yeah, I'm down to rather less than that now, but still, if I'd paid that much of my own money, that would have been rather hideous. Right, no carriers, tier 9 game, and one radar? Yeah, one radar. So that's alright. Oh no, wait, 2 radars. I am definitely not stealthy though. Because, you know, it's tier 7 and it's Soviet. 6.8 kilometers. There's a lot of not very stealthy destroyers at this tier though. Yeah, I know, Fu, it's like it's 2019. Well, I guess I can take a request. Oh, I was, I've got about 3 hours at the moment to stream, so I do want to look at, let's see, we've got the Pan-European destroyers, and they added in the odd ones. We already had the even ones, so they've added in the odd ones from tier 5. So that's tier 5, 7 and 9. And then we've also got the Bajie and the Wukong, and the Marceau, and possibly other things I'm forgetting. So there's a whole heap of test ships and recently released ships, and you know, there's even the Royal Navy heavy cruisers that we could take a look at. So I'm kind of spoilt for choice at the moment. Oh hey Manti. Yes, yeah, I kind of, you know, I figured. I appreciate the continued support on Patreon regardless. It's one of the things I like about Patreon, is it's kind of pay as you go. Right, oh, there's Seattle. I don't quite know what I'm doing with this line so far, to be honest, but I probably have a little bit more of an idea having played the French. Yeah, I guess it had been a while since the last replay you sent me. Although I do have a folder somewhere full of replays going back, in some cases, quite a while. Have a little peek out, see if we can spot anyone. Don't really have... I mean, there's some ships over there, but I don't have any kind of immediate support back here. I don't know how much the Alsace and the Helena are going to be able to give me support. No, I think they're tucked in behind the island or behind these 2 islands. This is kind of an annoying cap for that. Oh, single torp, so it's the Jutland. I don't really want to get into a close range fight with the Jutland. How is Lewis and Harris today? It's fine. We had some very wet days recently, but it's dry and overcast at the moment. In fact, we even had a bit of sunshine earlier on. For a little while. Only a little while. Yeah, I'm going to join my allies. I think there's no point trying to go 1 versus 1 in a Minsk versus a Jutland. That would be not bad. Oh, yep, that's fair enough, Manti. You wouldn't be the first patron that's had to go away for various reasons or cut back support and then has come back again. Such trivial life things as, you know, having babies or having to have parents move in, or, you know, job stuff, or having to move, for example. Completely trivial things that obviously I don't forgive anyone for, because I mean, that's just, you know, that's no excuse for not giving some random internet dude money. It's just not on. People seem to think it's okay. These are okay reasons, but clearly they aren't. Clearly, obviously. Right, not a lot of point in smoking up just now. This is possibly foolish, but you know, he's right there and I want to shoot something. And I did have a Spood Beast available. This is kind of what I would be doing in my French. Because the French line are just kind of more Soviets, except without smoke. And better in some ways. Not in every way. Although they do have inarguably better torpedoes. Oh, I'd be wary of that island there. Yeah, that island, that one right there, didn't quite have the turning radius. This was meant to happen. This was absolutely meant to happen. Took a moment to get unstuck there, though. That sounds like you're in a bit of a fixer-upper there, Manti. But I'm guessing it was cheaper to actually get the place to begin with then. There's some family friends who've done that a couple of times now. They buy a place, fix it up, and then go elsewhere. Oh, no, didn't want that. I mean, if nothing else, look how long it's taking for my turrets to come along. Come around, rather. Right, he's not actually trying to fire at me, though. It's just the Seattle. Presumably trying to preserve his stealth. Ouch! Let's be a little more careful about islands now, shall we? Now, one thing I don't really have in this ship is the gun range, which maybe I should try and get.
So be it.
Jedi. It's going to be spotted for longer, but when it comes to reaction time and staying alive in a fast ship, then the extra range you can get helps. This is the Minsk. This is the Tier 7. Redman. And also thank you very much for the subscription fee, or the resub. And also Brett, Ralak, I think I've thanked everybody in some form or another. Hey, this does mean that B is probably clear, although depends what the Benham's doing. The Benham's still there. Okay, this is not a particularly fantastic turn radius. You can tell I don't play this shit very often. I'm thinking it has a much better turn radius than it does.
So be it.
Oh, and the gift subs.
Jedi.
Thank you very much, Fu. That was very generous of you. Oh, I see Wazer's here as well, actually. Hey, Wazer.
So be it. Jedi.
Yeah, let's head over to
So be
B, or do I want to go...
Jedi.
I don't know. maybe I do want to go and help my allies here. We do have a decent head of points right now. Get back into gun range. I did contemplate actually streaming some more Red Dead 2, but then I thought it's actually been a while since I streamed Warships, and there are a lot of test ships at the moment. And preview ships and such like, so I decided to go that route instead. Oh, that's true. Yeah, but I really want to. Yeah, I know. I actually need to do a supporter spotlight video, but Tropico is on the to-do list as well. This coming week should be a lot more settled than last week was. If nothing else, a big part of the dip was the fact that it was tax season, and as usual, I was incredibly organised and waited till almost the last minute to do it. So that was slightly on my mind. Getting all the stuff together that's needed for self-assessment taxes, all the fun that is. But it could be worse, it could be the US tax system. It's a good thing he'd already taken a fair bit of damage. He's still taking a bit of my health, but there we go, that's a dangerous opponent out of the way. We do seem to be winning this fairly handily, actually. I haven't done much, but never mind, I'll take the win.
Jedi.
Corbin Flieger, thank you very much for the resub. Gosh, we're up to 35 viewers already, apparently. I was thinking maybe 10 people would tune in. I'm always surprised, regardless of how many people actually, you know, do turn up. I'm always somehow a bit surprised. Anyway, I might as well get this mid-cap. Might as well get the points for that. This was not a particularly difficult win. I really didn't get a chance to do much, or have to do much in this one.
So be it. Jedi.
Chef Oil, thank you very much for the resub. A tank monkey.
So be it. Jedi.
Evil Tim! Wow, the resubs are just flowing thick and fast at the moment. Who's left? It's just that one Seattle. I think they must have done actually rather well for themselves. Oh! I see Corbin Flieger fell afoul of the... I can't even remember what the limit was for that. I might need to take a look and see. Anyway, might as well pop a speed boost, because what else am I saving it for?
Двигатель в форсированном режиме.
See if we can't catch sight of the Seattle. I don't know if there's anybody that's even... I just saw... Did I just see gunfire? Yeah. Okay, there we go. Yeah, I don't know if there's anyone... Well, actually, no, the Helena probably does have range. Oh yes, we're British. We don't do emotions. It's all about the stiff upper lip. You know, subtle, restrained xenophobia, not exuberant having parties in the street xenophobia, which is obviously the real issue with Brexit. So we've forgotten how to be properly racist as a, you know, country. We used to be refined and restrained about it, and now that's just, I don't know. It's all this new, crass, modern racism. It's just not on. It's just not on. Depends which tier 8 I go for, Redman, although they are about the same level, I think. I'll have to double check after this game, which I think we might win somehow. Yeah, I think he's trying to get unspotted again. That's not going to happen. I'm just a tiddly little bit faster than he is Seattle. Even if he does nobble me, well, I think we've won. Fortunately, we didn't have any fireworks up here. That would have been a bit much, but I don't know if there's any... I don't suspect this is a particularly ardently Brexit-supporting area somehow. the islands of a whole. I mean, there's going to be a subset, especially given that there is still some fishing industry here, and that's always been a hot button topic. But in terms of the amount of EU funding that has gone into infrastructure, even stuff as basic as roads, but especially community halls as a thing, you see, you know, funded by EU signs everywhere. There's actually been some quite major roadworks, and the best example I can think of is one of the roads over to the west side, where they basically kind of repathed the whole road and made it a lot straighter, a much quicker journey, and shaved about 20 minutes off the journey time, something like that. So lots of disruption while it was happening, but you know, it was never going to happen with council funding or UK government funding. That was actually enough for third somehow. Okay, don't quite know how. I did kill the Jutland though, I suppose. Right, I need about 30,000-ish to get to either the Ognivoy or the Kiev, so, you know, with the couple of days of premium that I got from those crates for the next couple of days, I'm going to try and sign in and get this daily at least. Anyway, Moskva. This is more about getting the cash. It's Brexit. I'm not allowed to stream in the EU anymore. That must be it. That must be it. It's a weird thing because it's not necessarily going to massively affect me personally, but there's lots of my family that it will do, either directly or indirectly. Oh, apparently I've got a level 2 hype train emote. I don't know what that means, but okay. I can do this now. Well, obviously I'm not on the EU server True Blue Terrier, but you know, I'll log in and find out. And I also expect that Wargaming will, in keeping with the wishes of the 30 whatever it was % of Britain that voted in favour of Brexit, set up a special British Brexit server, which we won't allow any of those filthy continentals to play on. It'll just be for true pure-blooded Englishmen, and you know, I suppose the Scots and Welsh and Northern Irish might get allowed on as well, if they behave and try not to talk too much in their funny accents. Obviously. But yeah, it's definitely, you know, even just the general economic effects are going to impact, you know, me as much as everybody. The fact that it's already economically, with stuff happening with the pound and business uncertainty and all the rest of it, probably cost more than the actual net contributions that we've made to the EU over the last 40 plus years. So yeah, but it's fine though. We'll all be better off, probably, somehow, and it'll be easy. It'll be so easy. Oh, who even knows? I mean, there'll probably be a non-binding independence referendum at some point, because, you know, technically the 2015 one was non-binding, and who knows what will happen after that. The likelihood of getting a binding referendum out of Westminster is unlikely. It's definitely going to be a case of, you know, it's fine for the UK to get the say, but obviously with the massive change in circumstances and the fact that one of the kind of explicitly stated planks of the entire Remain, not Remain, the kind of the No, there we go. Well, I guess kind of still the Remain, I suppose, in that context, but the No campaign for Indie Ref 1 was, oh no, you know, if you want to stay in the EU, you've got to stay in the UK. But I've beaten that drum before. Don't really need to flog that any more than necessary, I suppose. It's just that there's very little leg to stand on in terms of, as far as I see it, justification for not having
Jedi.
Whatever the result is. Hey, Malwo. Yeah, the whole "together we're stronger" thing, you know, apparently only applies in very certain limited circumstances. Of course. That Thunderer isn't spamming HE at me, which is highly unusual. I don't know if this is what one does with a Moskva, by the way. It's what I've seen other people do with Moskvas. I've played some games in it, but it's never a ship I've been super comfortable in. Ooh, I wonder if it's worth trying to... This is Silliwangi. So I'm going to bump up against the border at some point, so that's going to be a thing. Right, Thunder is nearly done. Got a bit of that, got the kill, which is nice. Well, one of the reasons why we have internet that works here is... again, I'm pretty sure that was EU funding. To build up rural internet infrastructure. Which isn't the case in... like, there's a lot of rural places where they still don't have particularly good internet. And I don't see the government somehow, you know, but you never know, they might do. Just seems a little unlikely. I don't know if it's worth bobbing a hydro. I also don't know if AP is the right thing to be using at this range. Not hydro, radar. Because you're not exactly the stealthiest ship. Oh, there's the Shima. Well, at least we have a bead on their position, even if I don't have actual shots right now. I think they already got weird spaced armour. Can't remember. Anyway, I'm going to take a turn here. Oh. Let's just plough around in a big... Okay. Yeah, I mean, that's one of the very few advantages, but also arguably a disadvantage of first past the post. Coalitions don't happen very often. It also means you don't tend to get governments that compromise. I don't know if anyone could ever be said to be a particularly big fan of the 2010 to 2015 coalition, but it was certainly a lot better, as we can say from direct experience since, and well, obviously before as well, that it was certainly more palatable than one-party Tory government. But hey, it could be worse. We could be Australia, right? We could always be Australia. Or Belgium. Although they don't seem to be quite as bonkers, they just seem to be more in the way of the squabbling bag of cats. That are all meowing in different accents and different languages, because Belgium. I mean, I'm still a bit, well, not bitter, that's not the right word, but strongly disappointed that we had a chance at voting system reform, even if it wouldn't have been by any means perfect, but that it was so roundly rejected. And yet people continue to complain about the state of politics and the voting system, even though I'm sure many of the people that do complain had a chance to vote on it to change it. Well, I'm really hoping these torpedoes run out before they get to me. I do seem to have most of them up here though. Oh, hello, Z-52. Okay, that was actually worth the use. You never quite know when you use it.
So be it, Jedi.
Whether they're actually going to get any use out of it or not. That's a decent chunk of damage. And yes, they did roll out. I completely knew they were going to. It's all fine. I can't even remember what the actual... What was it? Alternative vote? I mean, for Scottish parliamentary elections, we actually use... oh, God. I can't remember. It's some... not preference voting, but it's not... Is it list voting? It's something. Oh, hello, Shima. Our carrier might have been maybe trying to do more to... destroyers spotted. Also, I have to be very careful about giving broadside to these battleships. I know well enough that Kremlin does not like being hit broadside. Not Kremlin, Moskva. Close enough. Kinda, maybe, sorta. Not really. Well, if we can bring this one back points-wise, I mean, we have enough ships, but we could do with that middle cap for sure. Our only destroyer is, however, not looking that healthy. I mean, maybe. I'd still take another moderated Tory government over what we have now, though. Much like a nuclear reactor, everything's better with moderation. Let's get this HE cell out against them, and then maybe try popping some AP against one of these Smolensks. Which hopefully won't have quite the same overpenning problem that people have in battleships, although they are kind of angled. I can point my nose forwards towards this island and use that for a bit of cover. That might work. Boom! Nice! Oh, he got detonated by the carrier? Okay, he's going to be salty about that, I expect. Yeah, we do need a cap, but we are bringing this back steadily, which is quite nice. Let's get a heal going. just yet. Oh, hello, Montana. Sliders on this. It'd be awfully nice if that Smolensk would die. Yeah, Moskva's definitely not the powerhouse that it used to be, but I think it's still a reasonably capable ship. But there are not that many old ships that have completely held up. I've said it before, I actually think, ironically, one of the ones that has best is the Otago, which, you know, is one of the oldest premiums in the game, and yet somehow has held up as being, you know, one of the best cruisers of the tier. Right, I don't think we're going to quite make 100k, but yep, this is not bad. I think we're going to win this on kills. I'm tempted just to do like I did last time, just get in the... Oh, never mind. He died.
So be it. Jedi.
True Blue with the new sub. Thank you very much. I also had a gift sub for Shiva from Ralak. 91k, not bad, and the most important thing is I made a bunch of credits. 435k, that's not too shabby. I haven't really had many, let's see if we can get a streamer RNG. Haven't really invested in many premiums on my NA account. I've had one or two gifted and I've bought one or two. But for this kind of thing, it's actually cheaper if you get a tier 10 that you can stand to play. You know, the cost of tier 10 perma camo versus the cost of a tier 8 premium for the same credit income, it actually is pretty good value to get the perma camo. But if you want the perma camos just because they look nice, they're quite steep. Yeah, I had some flags on that. Yeah, a bit of free XP. It's fine. I tend to take the trial lock containers much more on NA just because, well, there's much greater chance of getting something useful. Whereas on EU these days it would be more like if I, you know, if I really lucked out and got some steel, that would be the best thing, but that's pretty damn rare. Right, let's move over to EU. I could put the, you know, thing up, I suppose, so you're not just staring at a black screen, but it's not like I have to hide my login email these days. Because that's all in the launcher now. Oh, although you can quite clearly see that I'm currently at the windowed size and not the full screen size on the client, but it's fine. I am completely professional. Always. Does anyone else remember the pro-professional thing? I couldn't even remember if that was World of Tanks or World of Warships, but there was a meme post on one of the forums ages and ages ago. I was thinking about that the other day, and I couldn't... I don't know what tripped my mind up about it, or, you know, what reminded me, but... It was a post somebody made on one of the official forums, and it kind of went a bit viral as best as it can. The heavy cruisers, they're okay. They're kind of like the German destroyers. They're fine, I think. They're not, you know, going to set your hair on fire or... cause anybody to have spontaneous orgasms, but they're fine. Right. Oh, meet my newest acquisition, by the way. I missed out getting this the first time round. Of all the ARP ships and the other special ships, it's the one that I kind of really wanted to get my hands on for a long time. And now I've been able to, by the expedient of giving Wargaming some money. So there we go. I don't like that camo quite as much as the Southern Dragon camo. I almost wish you could get it in more muted colours rather than the kind of neon colours, but still. So, what should we start with? Oh, I know what I was going to look at, actually. The one non-silly ship among the Lunar New Year offerings, and I don't have to put a work in progress tag up, do I? So that's fine. Spoiler alert, I don't think it's particularly good, but at least it existed. The Bajie and the Wukong are just silly fantasy ships as much as the ARP ships are, essentially. Wukong, I'm not sure why you would. Bajie, I can see the appeal for some people. It's essentially a slightly better Izumo. But it's still an Izumo. It still has that awkward turret placement. It still has all of the penetration without having the overmatched caliber to go with it. Like the you know, the kind of low penny caliber that Yamato has. So you end up, as Little White Mouse so eloquently puts it, turning lots of other ships into the Smolensk in terms of your inability to actually, well, lots of cruisers rather, into the Smolensk, because you just can't get anything on them other than overpens. And that gets old after a while. Anyway, 5.9. Deep water torps. Quite slow loading tubes, but I think they are quintuples. And is it 10 kilometers? I haven't played this since the initial test thing. I remember not being particularly impressed. I'll give it a go. Oh yeah, and you've only got 4 barrels. 2 turrets. What's my air? 3.5 over 2.8. Okay. Hello, Graf Zeppelin. I actually have to be careful about these. Graf Zeppelin rocket planes are kind of nasty.
Smoke generator activated.
Now, I do at least have Pan Asian smoke to play with, so that's nice. And it does also have the gimmick of a Hydra, but it's kind of like it's kind of limited use. I wouldn't say this ship is as useful as, say, the tier 8, that one. You know the one that's that one. The other tier 8 that just gets regular torps on the Pan Asian line and has US smoke.
Torpedoes to starboard.
Well, I sure am popular with this guy. Okay, maybe I don't have to worry about this Graf Zeppelin so much. I don't know.
Torpedoes direct front.
There's the torps. That's 2 sets of 5, so that's going to be the Shima that's here. Well, it must be because the Kagero's over there. And there's the third lot. Okay. Well, yeah, I mean, I can see why that would be, you know, but in fairness, they are proper premium ships now. And I'd almost just, I almost do prefer it when they go, okay, here, just buy the thing. We made a thing, spend money to get the thing, rather than another PR level grind or anything of that nature. So it's a really nice bonus if you already had some or all of them, because they're now, you know, a bunch of premium ships that you didn't have to do anything to get. But if you want to get them, they're now premium ships, so you have to, you know, pay money. Oh, the whole thing was just a mess, really. It wasn't even a lack of clarity. I mean, they tried to go, oh, it was the communication issues. That was the real problem. No, there was more to it than just that. There really was. But I don't necessarily know that I could particularly outgun a Shima, but I don't particularly also want to go hunting for a Shima just yet, because there's a Smolensk quite nearby. Yeah, I mean, if you're going to buy all of them at once, then yeah, it's going to be expensive. Oh, if somebody else is going to get there first, that would be annoying if they did. Oh, it was mine that got the kill, and it was a first blood. Okay, then. That was an extremely kill steal. It was only, I mean, it was still 9,000 damage, but yeah, that was a bit kill steal. I looked up the pronunciation, by the way, and I can't get it quite right, but it's almost like the pronunciation of the Huanghe. It's not really a proper W sound, it's more like an H-U-E sound. Even though, obviously, you know, Indonesian rather than Chinese, it's a not totally dissimilar sound. But I can't really quite manage to get it. Half the time I want to go weirdly Germanic and call it the Silliwangi, which is definitely not correct. Hey, it does at least have the bonus of not being a ship, as far as I know, where they committed war crimes and held political prisoners and, you know, tortured people and did all sorts of other fun things. So that's a bonus, right? Well, let's pop down the smoke.
Smoke generator
And, oh, I guess I'm going to be pew-pewing because that Lenin is in fact going for it. Yeah, well, you can at least get to see what the guns are like. Not exactly super fast firing considering you only have 4 barrels. Are you going for a ram? A totally unnecessary ram? I guess so. It's not even like they've got huge amounts of hit points left between them. No, never mind. Didn't actually go for the ram at all. Still a Shima around the place somewhere though. I think there's one of the Congos I'm missing and possibly one of the Miyokos from the ARP set, but I'm not that fussed about them. Not enough to pay money. The Eastern Dragon was the only one
Victory is in sight.
I was willing to fork out some cash for. That was definitely the collector's instinct. It wasn't that I particularly need it, because, you know, it's another Miyoko, but I wanted it, you know. I don't know if I'm going to get that much of a chance to drop many more torps in this one. I guess we'll see. I don't know if this is even really that far off the Ognevoy. I think the carrier must be down that way somewhere as well. But if it is, you know, I'm not going to be impressed with the Ognevoy when I play that either. It will at least not have deep water torps. Nope, there goes the Hindi, never mind. only I could speed boost over to the carrier, but obviously no speed boost is a thing. It's a slightly weird combination, this ship. Wow, there's a Worcester. Obviously I want to get into a gunfight with that. Clearly. Oh, raspberries. I know that word. That's, oh, the plane game. Ace Combat. Is it Ace Combat? I think it's Ace Combat. I watched somebody do an Ace Combat playthrough. And I remember that being a thing. Most recent one. It looked kind of fun. The kind of game I would potentially buy when it was super cheap someday. They still got... yes, they do have a Kagero. Ooh, hello, that's the Worcester radar. Nope. 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 I'm a nope right out of there.
Damaged.
Victory is in sight.
Critical engine damage. Problem solved, sir.
I can at least just wag my tail and dodge most of it. But here's where a speed boost would come in really useful, because I'm just bleeding so much speed doing this. It's fine, it only cost me half my hit points. No, I've never played any of them, but they've mostly been console games, right? I think it's only recently that they've come to PC. Yeah, destroyers without speed boosts that just aren't naturally fast ships are not exactly my cup of tea. Not my cup of tea at all. I did have one of the very first games that I had for the PlayStation 2 was a flying game. Oh, hello, that's the Kagero. I can't remember what it was now. It was essentially a puzzle flying game. It was kind of story based. It was kind of interesting, but probably not that great. In fact, probably the main reason I remember it is that it had a pretty good soundtrack. Anyway, let's go and see if we can beat up a Kagero. Maybe. Yeah, bonus points if you can find an early launch title for the PlayStation 2. Which was a slightly strange flying game. There was one particular mission where you had to basically fly around and refuel from a train. I remember that much. Like aerial refueling, except it wasn't aerial, it was a train. Right, any second now I'm going to actually get to use the Hydro. There is, however, a chance that he will beat me in a gunfight, just because his this Kagero's alpha is definitely going to be better than mine, but it comes down to DPM really. And also, they're not really using their guns that much, so that kind of helped. It was actually the Graf Zeppelin secondaries that got the kill. Okay. Well, that's fine. Didn't lose much health there at all. And now, once again, I'm having a go at capping. because that's apparently what I've been doing today. So yeah, that's the Silliwangi, which is kind of hard to recommend. It's not that good.
Victory is in
It's
sight.
got a hydro. It's fine, I suppose. As long as I can amuse you, Dax Fitter. You know, that's the main thing, right? I kind of wish I had a soundboard going now, and I could have the old cop from Hot Fuzz, the bit where it goes Cox, except it does it funnier than I do. So, yeah. How 1800? How? What? I don't understand the scoring in this game sometimes at all. Anyway. Thoroughly dull game. In a thoroughly dull ship. CC hacks, absolutely. In fact, let's see if the CC hacks continue. No. Right. Well, seeing as how I've got it highlighted, let's take a look at the Marceau next. Which is pretty much what you think it is. And I'd actually better have the work in progress up on the screen for this one. I should probably check if there are any that aren't supposed to be shown at the moment. I don't think there are. It's somewhere. No, have they removed that pin for that sheet? Maybe. It was in Discord. Anyway, never mind. Oh, well, this is actually not bad. The carry is, but the fact it's a standard game kind of works for me. I think that is outweighed by the carrier. Oh, here we go. Maybe it's in my browser history. Although everything is kind of a bit like up in the air because Earl Grey was the one that was doing all the spreadsheet stuff. So yeah, I don't know if they've got them all fully sorted out again yet afterwards. Never reveal my browser history of exciting wargaming spreadsheets. It's basically numbers porn. So I'm just going to pew pew. Although I do have a less good gun range than the 9.6 kilometers detection. Yep, I'm a cruiser. I do have a less good gun range than I do on the Kleber. Is it the Kleber? What's the tier 9? Is the Kleber the tier 10? There's so many ships to keep track of these days. The Mogador, that's it. Which I have a 17.8 gun range on, and this, it is 16 kilometers. So it's not quite as much as I would like, but it's a cruiser. It's basically a really small cruiser that goes really fast, and oh yes, you have a defensive, which is going to be highly appealing for some people that play the French line. You basically lose your main battery reload in order to pick up a defensive. Right, hello Midway. Let's see what my defensive AA does to you. And also I'm right next to a Minotaur, so that probably helped as well. 5 kills. Minotaur got the rest. Nice. I might as well cycle that. If you didn't know that little trick, basically if you switch off your AA, it forces the defensive to end, and so therefore the cooldown timer starts a little bit quicker. Yes, this is Brexit Britain. We're all about the austerity and no unnecessary anythings, right? Pretty sure there was a DD that was spotting me just then. Daka. Probably trying to go for the Mino Smoke, but maybe go for the Yamato. I don't know. Right, that's probably the Harugumo. Somebody firing AP shells, interesting. Anyway, go Gadget French Destroyer. That is a destroyer, honest, it's not just a really small cruiser. One thing I've never really understood, just looking at that comment about evil Europe, is how many of my supposed compatriots seem to think that we aren't European somehow. I don't get it. I really don't. I suspect it's the Victorians' fault, probably. Don't think I have IFHE on this captain. In fact, I can have a check because this mod was updated. Yeah, demo expert, but no IFHE. It's probably not worth the points. I can't remember. I probably did the sums with the caliber of guns and figured it was better to try and set fires. There was a Yoshino up there as well somewhere. Oh, it was a Minotaur. Enemy Minotaur. Well, bear in mind it's 139mm, not 127. But for the extra armor zones it opens up, I think I figured out it still wasn't going to be worth it. Oh, are they 127s? I didn't even notice that. Also, hello 20km Yoshino Torps. Oh, and a gearing. Which should possibly explain the faster rate of fire on Marceau. Well, he can't really run from me. I'll try dumping some torps out, you never know. They're pretty damn fast. Oh, actually, no, they're not. They're not typical French torps at all in that regard. You can tell I've been really paying attention to the stats of this ship. Didn't know what guns it had, didn't know what torpedoes it had. So it does represent something a bit different from the usual French line then. Although, of course, in terms of fast torpedoes these days, it's the Swedish ticklers that take the cake. No Hango, I didn't actually drink it. It kind of went a bit unremarked as far as I was concerned, to be honest. Oh, there's the Midway. Nice. Yeah, I didn't really do anything special to mark the occasion. Oh, it's going for me. Attack, 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 attack. Great bombs are nasty. And hey, I get to show you what the AA is like. Now, I don't think I'm going to get very far with this armoured deck. But I might get some fires.
L'équipage des canons anti-aériens est en état d'alerte normal.
20 plane kills so far. That's not too shabby. I'm kind of screening for the gearing here also. Doubtless there's been some Yoshino torps put in the water. This is partly, at least, unashamedly just farming for damage. Oh, hello, Smolensk is getting in on the action. You can see the turret traverse is actually not terrible. Oh, hello, gearing. You're there, were you? That's good to know. So yeah, this one's reasonably fun. If you don't get completely unlucky with carriers, but I've been doing okay so far. And it does have the defensive, which is a major boon compared to the French destroyers. So it's that extra bit of insurance. There we go, finally a fire. It's not going to last long on a midway, but it's bleeding some extra damage. And you can see the turret angles are actually not bad either. So overall, especially compared to the Silliwangi, it's a much more pleasant ship to play. Right, I kind of assumed that was dropping smoke so that he could sit in it and QQ at me, but why's this guy already running out of rocket planes? It's a good thing for me, because those are some of the more dangerous ones. Right, I don't know if I'm going too deep here, but we'll see. Get the carrier off my back, that certainly will be useful. I don't know if I particularly want to go beyond this island for now, though. I'm giving torps. Yeah, they're all shooting at me. I don't like it. Okay, there goes the gearing. We'll try and disengage a bit. 27 plane kills, so the AA is really doing what it's supposed to against even a tier 10 carrier, which is nice. Almost 100k damage, 1.2 million potential. I mean, I'm enjoying it so far. Let's see if we can't spot that midway again. Yes, we are indeed living in interesting times, aren't we? Is it Inns Hunter or Inshunter? Or maybe it's Nashunter. I don't know. Some other equally implausible combination. Don't know if I'm going to get eyes on this midway long enough to kill him. Can't really head towards them like I want to, just because that's Smolensk and Zawa there. I've got to keep my distance so I can dodge the incoming fire, basically. Yeah, he's just about getting to the edge of my range. If I was in my Mogador, I could keep firing at this point. But sadly not. Oh, Indian Naval Service. Oh, okay. INS Hunter. Yeah, it's the one thing I do wish I had is a bit more range. But for a pew-pew gunboat, it does as advertised, and the lack of smoke is less of an issue when you have the defensive. Now, if only the regular French destroyers could get a defensive and stronger AA as well. Daka, 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 daka.
Notre équipe a pris l'avantage.
We've just about won this one. Well, the Republic's not looking too happy. I'm a little sad I won't get to kill the Midway, but I did chunk a pretty big amount of damage off them. 31 plane kills. Definitely not too shabby. I'm going to have to be careful about making your air attacks on this thing.
Boost des moteurs activé.
Actually, I wonder if they're really shooting at the Smolensk instead. Reversing. I think he is actually reversing. It's sort of hard to tell at that angle. No, he's not. Okay. I'm just hallucinating, not reversing at all. And there goes the Midway. Tee-hee, can't catch me. At least not at this range. Yeah, the lack of... oh, someone got a Kraken. Nice. Oh, Hikuriu. Okay. Yeah, the lack of the speed boost on the Silliwangi does really make a difference. Now, this is with AFT. No concealment expert. 9.6 is, I think, the worst you can get. I can show you afterwards. But yeah, no. AFT, BFT, Demo Expert, Superintendent, Last Stand, Survivability Expert, Priority Target. It's basically a full destroyer survivability and gunfire build. So that's the Marceau. Rather like it. No idea how it's going to be available, but reasonably fun. Just shy of 100,000 damage. Oh, nice. Top of the team. This time I actually felt like I did something to deserve it. What else have we got? Pan-Europeans, and I'm trying to remember if there's anything else that's extant at the moment. In terms of new ships. I have quite a few of them at this point. 270. Yeah. Just one or two. One or two. Yeah, things are kind of depressing overall at the moment, aren't they? Just a little bit, if you look at the news. Certainly not a lot of happy fun times things. I don't think there is anything else that I'm missing, you know. I think it is primarily the... Oh, we have Goliath and Drake as well. Okay. But I'm not super duper in a rush to play those. And that's Commonwealth. Whoops. Right, some of these I haven't actually set up yet. So, yeah, we have Visby at tier 5. Westeros and Irland I already covered. We've got Skåne, Irland, Östergötland, and Småland and Holland. Also, let's try for the stream RNG again. Ah, never mind. Play the tier 5, sure. That is a thing I have tended to try and do anyway when I'm looking at new lines, because often everybody else zooms off to look at the very highest tier ship. Which is sort of fair enough. You want to know where the line is going to end up, but it quite often leaves the lower end of the scale being rather neglected. This is the captain I'm using for this, by the way. Superintendent, basic firing training, survivability expert. Also torpedo acceleration. This is the captain I used in that video. Which in this case is going to give me a 7.2 kilometer range with 70 knots. And they are the typically not very damaging torpedoes, 7.5k damage. I think they've got themselves to the point in the game's life cycle where it's way harder to make lines distinctive, and it's far easier when you're trying to make a distinctive line to have something that just falls completely flat or feels overly gimmicky. It's almost kind of a natural consequence of the way the game has been developed. It's the exact same thing that happened in World of Tanks. I guess we want the aiming system. Upgrade, damage control, and an armament modification. Make sure we've got the upgraded everything as well. Yeah, the firing range is pretty pants, but firing range is pretty pants on most of them. And yes, I'm not going to forget the camouflage, don't worry. Just stick the... is it that one? No. Sometimes the camouflages are a bit weird. Sometimes the kind of standard ones are at the top and sometimes they're at the bottom, and I don't know why it's like that. You'd think they'd all just sit in the same place all of the time, regardless of what ship you're looking at, but they don't seem to. We got any kind of... I don't think there are any Viking-themed flags I can really use. Can at least make sure I've got the Swedish pennant on. Anyway, those flags aren't particularly important. Let's go for signals. Do all the usual things. And of course we've got the heal, so we get that, but that's not going to give us that much extra. And that one. Victor Lima for the extra fire chance. So let's have a quick look at the stats. This is not one I've played before. That's what I meant to click on. Well, that's not really particularly shocking. Not a lot of armour, 10mm. 11.3k health with survivability. 120mm Bofors, 5-second reload, 18-second turret traverse, which is not exactly super. And we do at least have 5 barrels, so that's alright. Torps with torp acceleration 70 knots, 7.2 kilometers, 2 triples. And the AA looks not bad in terms of the types of mounts, you just don't have a lot of them. Concealment 5.5, maximum speed 41 knots. So it's a pretty speedy boy for tier 5. I would honestly, yeah, I would like some more scenarios, for example, some more operations. instead of just getting space battles and whatnot recycled over and over. The Halloween event becoming, you know, a fixed thing. Okay, fine, sure. But some variety in other ways would certainly be nice. Anyway. Let's get the relevant circles on the 2.2. That's reasonably... Oh, pardon me. Reasonably fast. Stealthy. Okay, we've hit that stage of the day already where my brain is just randomly substituting words for other words that don't have any bearing whatsoever. And they just happen to be words connected to other things that I've said recently, because, I don't know, my brain's just a big old pile of mush. Well, bear in mind, Dak Vitera, it might well be rebalanced. We'll see. You want a new seal clubbing toy? Okay. Right, I'm actually reasonably stealthy, and that Valkyrie is turning away. So I'm going to hold fire just for now. See if I can't get the cap.
Enemy battleship sighted.
I don't particularly want to pick a gunfight with the Jaws nearby. Not with their ballistics. But we'll see what traction 70-knot torpedoes can give us. "70-knot Swedish ticklers." Yes. Not lewd at all. Don't think we're hitting anything. No, I guess they just parked behind the island. Yeah, they didn't go any further forwards than that. Apart from the carrier, though, which is a bit of a fly in the ointment, this might not at all be a bad setup. This blob of ships being here, and me with my fast reloading torpedoes, even if they don't do a lot of damage. It certainly might be more to my advantage to play around the torpedoes than anything else. Ooh, that New Orleans is getting a little bit close. Come on, 41 knots. Do have the speed boost as well, of course, but whoa. Got seen for a second there, but that's fine. They knew there was a destroyer here. That's not going to be any great revelation to them. I don't think I'm going to get a surprise drop on the New Orleans. I might do on the Congo. I can just stay where I can make the drop and not get spotted. Oh, and it keeps turning. Right, tops out on the New Orleans after all then.
Our team has taken the lead.
Ah, plane spotted. Never mind. That might completely have blown my cover. Should we try and go for the Mayhan? Oh, I think we're just gonna miss. Oh, yeah. We did. Rip. Oh, goodbye Congo. Goodbye our Congo, that is. Here's where the plane might be a bit of a pain. Or planes, plural. Come on, traverse! That's not going to be... Never mind. Oh, hello, Mayhan! Well, here's where we find out if the heal is any good or not. I have to be very careful not to accidentally hit the heal when I need to hit the speed boost. Because they are, as far as my brain is concerned, the wrong way round. Nice. Right, now to get unspotted.
Our team has taken the lead.
If I can. So let's nix that extra detectability from being on fire.
Problem solved.
Oh, well, hello. Here come the planes anyway, so never mind. Now we just dodge like mad and lament the lack of good AA. I might be able to get in and cap, but without smoke it obviously makes it a lot harder. With the carrier buzzing around. Well, we can heal a bit of that. 70 knots. The speeds, the torps with torpedo acceleration are 70 knots. Can at least get a heal back quite soon, but it's not going to do me that much good. It's better than not having it, though. All things considered. Oh, hello. Hello, Frenchie. I wasn't quite expecting to see you here.
Engine boost deactivated.
Yeah, then 139 mils. Not good for my health.
Our team has taken
That's the one big issue I've had with the Pan-Asians is any encounter you have with another destroyer, you shed so many hit points. And when you've got a carrier buzzing around that you can't really do much about, then they become a bit frustrating. Right, we've gotten the cap at least, but we're going to get struck again. I'm basically going to go and have to hug allies for the rest of this. Well, I managed to dodge some of that at least, and I have shot down a couple of planes, but not exactly many. You see how much health I've lost, and... Wow, that actually hit. Okay. It just, at the moment, feels like you lose lots of health from not necessarily doing that much in return. So, I don't know. I don't think the Pan-EU destroyers as a whole are there quite yet. But maybe I just really suck with using torpedoes, which could well be true. There are certainly things to like about them, though. just possibly need a bit of tweaking somehow. Right, let's see if we can't land some torpedoes on this not New Orleans. Killed the New Orleans, it's Colorado. Although, frankly, as close to death as they are, I might as well also just open fire. Hello, Fiji buddy. I might need some assistance with some Daka Daka. There we go. Hang on. Yeah, I can promote you, Shiva. Just in time to get in range of the Valkyrie. I do at least like the guns on these ships. The 120mm, they feel really reliable. Nice solid destroyer gun. Yeah, it's the same. Yeah, it's the same Bofors 120mm guns. You find them on the I can never remember the name. The Tier 7 Pan Asian as well, and some of the other British destroyers. Is this Fiji about to eat some? Yep. Whoops. Who dropped those? The Zara did.
Engine boost activated.
Well, I might get in range to take some pot shots at this Ryusha. We'll see. Well, that was a bit of an inconsequential game. I think there are going to be some games which will be just outright hilarious, and then there's going to be a bunch of other games that are just like this. And as I said, when the French destroyers came along without their smoke, you know, my enthusiasm for smokeless destroyer classes overall is going to be generally far more limited. Yep, I remember Fu. Fourth on the team, but nobody scored super highly. 1800's pretty decent now, and then we had someone with elite. With Zara, despite doing some team damage. We'll give that one another go. And I get a carrier, hooray! I don't mind the bottom tier so much because the stealth is good, but it would be nice to get a sense of what this is like without a carrier in the mix. Because that's when it's going to be at its most effective. Right. It'd be great if that was a special permaflage that you could get for this ship. There are a small handful of regular tier 5s that have perma camo. Yeah, in terms of other destroyers, I'm not too worried. It's that carry that's going to be a pain. I'm not going to push this too hard. It is only 2 cruisers that are behind me so far. In fact, I could maybe even try just tucking into this edge of cap here. I can easily get out of place. I need to. Yeah, there's the carrier. Yeah, okay, let's not stick around here. Here comes the aeroplane! Go away! It's like when you're trying to swat flies away that just won't leave you alone. Having fun? Oh, so much fun. Oh, hello. Suki's here as well. Oh, I can spell. I don't desperately want to get into an extended gunfight with the Sims, but if I can get my allies to also shoot at the Sims, that would be quite nice. Be a good time for a speed boost as well.
Engine boost activated.
Well, the fact he's smoking up means no one's going to be spotting, so that's quite nice for me. How's that Hawkins doing? Still got some health. Isn't Visby in... Isn't that Gotland? Isn't that the biggest town in Gotland? I'm sure it is. I happen to know there is in fact a Visby class Corvette destroyer. I'm not sure what the designation is. Probably either frigate or corvette in the modern Swedish Navy. Actually, let's turn out rather than turning in. Oh, there's the Sims. Never mind. I've just been flinging my torpedoes into an empty cap then. That's a very bold move from both the Sims and the Matsuki. I'm entirely sure why they're trying to do that, but okay. It leaves this Eitel Friedrich open to my tender ministrations. Definitely not the best angle for this, but the reload's so quick I can just try again very soon.
Enemy destroyer detected.
Well, Sims actually got away, but not with a lot of health, so that's useful if I bump into them again. I tell Friedrich, you're not supposed to dodge. You're supposed to present me with a lovely big broadside that I can pump torpedo after torpedo into. She's not on. I have been told I've picked up tiny bits of Scottishness in the way I pronounce some words. Even though overall I really don't sound particularly Scottish at all. So it's possible. Also, Critical Drinker is quite a good name for a YouTube channel. I approve. Have we left a... Oh yes, there we go. Lovely great big gap in both spreads. Just a perfect battleship-sized gap. For goodness sake. RNGesus why? Oh, I did in fact hit one into the Nuremberg though. It's funny how some people do pick up accents and how people's accents can switch even depending who they're talking with. I don't think mine particularly does. But my brother tends to pick up the accent of wherever he lives. Right, this is what I'm talking about. I think the first lot's going to miss, but we should hit maybe 2 from the second lot. Or is it just going to be 1? It's just going to be 1 because of the amazing spacing. Oh, I was not paying attention to my... how I was facing there. A little bit close to a ship I don't want to be a bit too close to. Especially given the SAP shells.
Engine boost activated.
It's fine, I'm paying attention. Don't know what you're talking about. I'm definitely paying attention. Right, good news is that there's a flooding on Eitel Friedrich. So that's rather nice. Bad news is I don't know if I'm going to get another torp hit. Oh, our destroyer's turned pink. Excellent. Our other destroyer. One of our other destroyers. Yeah, they've definitely overextended on this cap, so once we clear it out I can just go in and get the cap. It really depends how you want to look at it, honestly. I mean, I consider myself to be culturally Scottish, given that I was raised here. Well, I lived here since I was 3. Certainly more Scottish than English in my outlook. I just don't even remotely sound like it, for the most part. Right. Oh, come on! Oh, there we go. I was denied 1, but 2 hits for about, what was that, 9 point something K? They really are Swedish ticklers. They don't do a lot of damage at all. No, don't turn. Go in nice straight lines. Stop using WAS attacks. It's not allowed. At least the carrier's leaving me alone. I'm surprised the new mech's backed off though. I mean, now the Scharnhorst is dead. This is kind of awkward. It's just me, basically. I could possibly gun down the Nuremberg, but it would cost me a lot of health to try. The Zara, on the other hand, that's a big nope. If the rest of my teammates would stop dying, that would probably be quite useful as well. While I'm over here on this flank playing with these ships.
The enemy is about to win.
Gosh, we could really use a cap. Come on. No. Take it in the face. Take it in the face, Nuremberg. Oh, I'm going to have to risk it. I mean, he's isolated himself, but let's not pretend those guns aren't a bit dangerous. Nah, this is not really working!
Engine boost activated.
I was sort of hoping to get a bit more damage out of these guns, but my relatively limited health pool is... Come on! I can do this!
Main turret critically damaged.
Well, it's like what I was saying, you can try and use the guns on things, but my word, it will cost you a lot of health. Ugh! Meanwhile, we do appear to be very now solidly losing. I'm also extremely vulnerable to the carrier. Any plans for Tank Fest? Not immediately, no. If I was going to go to Tank Fest, it would have to be fully funded by my own, you know. I don't know if there's any way Wargaming would pony up cash. I could always ask, actually. Have any plans to subsidise some warships CCs from to go?
The enemy team has taken the lead.
I mean, a part of me really does want to go back, but another part is like, well, I have been there, and it's massive crowds of people, and that's not exactly my favourite thing. So it's fun, but it's also stressful. I don't think... No, I'm not even going to get to the cap in time, even with a speed boost. Never mind. Just managed a bit more damage this time, I suppose. Got to use the torpedoes a little more. Oh well. Right, we'll play something else, but first I'm going to stand up and stretch my legs for 30 seconds. So I'll be right back. Also, I can close the curtains while I'm up. Right. It was the weirdest thing. When I went in the kitchen to get some more water, a piece of fudge leapt into my mouth. Just kind of attacked me randomly, but I valiantly defended myself with my teeth. And managed to beat it. It was a fairly vicious attack, though. Yeah, their Sims managed to... They got away with doing some fairly silly things. But our team apparently was content to let them do it. Don't know what to do next now. Could do the Westeros, or let's just play the ones we haven't played. So the tier 7, and again I'll stick with this Torp Acceleration Captain. So this is the Scorner, aka Scania, where they make the trucks. Again, I'll need to get it all set up. 10.1 kilometers, 15k, 15.5k health. Do they not actually make Scania trucks in Scania? That's disappointing. I am disappointed. Propulsion mod, or do I... Well, it's got a pretty fast rudder response already. Also, this is considerably slower, 35 knots, compared to Visby's 41. Well, 41 with the flag. We haven't put the flag on this yet, but even with the flag, it's not going to get as fast as that. Yeah, propulsion mod. I tend to prefer propulsion mod on my destroyers. Right, and camos and signals, and then we are done. Oh, I might as well take a quick look at the... It kind of makes more sense that it's more like shoreline camouflage when I look at it that way, rather than it just being a bit scruffy. Like, you know, they couldn't be bothered. It was like, yeah, camouflage, whatever. This'll do, good enough. No, there was a bit more thought went into it than that. Right, 36.8 with the flag, 6 kilometers. Yeah, the Visby is quite the meme machine at tier 5 with that speed. I don't think the tier 6 is even nearly that fast. Oh, nearly 40 with the flag. Okay, that's actually almost as fast. It's still, yeah, 120 mils, 2 twin turrets, hopefully a much faster rate of fire. 2.5 seconds. Still that 18-second turret traverse, however. Hit points we already looked at. This time, 9.6 kilometers, 81 knots. I don't think the damage will be much improved. No, 7.3. Is that even the same damage? Yeah, it's the same damage as tier 5. And of course, people's torpedo bulges are tending to get better as the higher you go. 610 meters, so again, not super duper maneuverable, but it's still not bad. I'm not even going to attempt to say that, foo. Tier 9 and Cleveland, Friesland Hydro, we have to bear in mind. But yeah, no carrier, so that's nice. Also, which kind of bird?
Action stations.
Now 6 kilometers surface detection. Oh, and 6 kilometers on the AA guns as well. That is actually not too shabby for a tier 7 destroyer. Most of them aren't that good at tier 7. Yeah, an African or a European swallow, though, Dak Fritterer. It's very important. I kind of miss the speed a little bit, but never mind. Oh yeah, we like to reuse. We like to just randomly reuse the same word for completely different things as well, which I was thinking about the other day when I was thinking about mint, which is, you know, fairly distinctive 4-letter word that can have very, very different meanings. Oh, the Marceau's here as well, but is rather less stealthy than I am and sporting the horribly garish Christmas camo. Oh, there's the Cleveland. Okay, that is definitely within radar range. Oh no, the Friesland has discovered how to launch torpedoes. He's almost certainly got his Hydra going while he's in that smoke, just to ward against possible incoming torps. And we come to the English is completely rational and makes total sense section of the stream, because it seems like we may have. Oh, there we go. That was the one I couldn't remember the name of. The Gajimada, which also has 120mm guns. He was currently trying to torpedo destroyer's smoke. Right. Right. Sure. I mean, sometimes people do it just to try and induce a bit of panic factor of, oh shit, there's some torpedoes coming my way. But I think most players have at this point attuned to the different symbols. And by the time they actually come upon you, you tend to have realised that they're not the ones you have to worry about anyway.
Critical engine damage. Engine boost
Actually want to
activated.
start a gunfight right now. Ouch. See, that's half my hit points gone just there. These things shed hit points so easily, even with the heal. Right, that Amalfi's not looking too healthy. Oh, hello. Oh, yeah. Just, of course, he had his guns available right at that moment. I think this might be it. You know, it's not like I can smoke up. I think we might have to try this one again because this ain't going so well. guess I should have guessed that the Shiratsuyu might try and advance. I was a bit too focused on trying to drop more torps on the Amagi. Well, so much for that. I think the caps, that southern cap seems a bit doomed anyway. We'll see how that goes. Well, let's do something not pan-European destroyer for a minute. In fact, you know what? I know what we'll do. Let's take the Bajie out. Of course, this doesn't need the work in progress logo. I still don't get either this or the Wukong. I mean, I get it in that it's just a cash grab. Like, say, the Black Friday ships. On that level, okay, it makes sense, but the justification for these two particular ships is basically non-existent. I think Fu actually himself said to me once when we were playing that the opportunity was there. If they're going to go this completely fantasy ahistorical, just nonsense la-la land stuff, then why not actually use the opportunity to bring out one of the other preliminary Yamato designs? Except, of course, that would have involved modelling a whole new ship. And instead they just reskinned an existing one and tweaked the stats slightly. So again, it all comes down to money, essentially. Hey, Menthel. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe. I mean, it's a pretty decent ship these days in terms of its armour, but it's still quite awkward with the turrets. And I've not been the only one since the Lenin came out to suggest that, hey, wouldn't it be nice if this middle turret could rotate all the way around at least? But apparently that's magical Soviet technology that nobody else had. Yeah, it does. I don't want to be too cynical, but it does kind of feel like we're getting a little less effort in certain areas. I don't want to say overall, because, you know, developing an entire new ship line is a lot of work. But in terms of events, in terms of specials, in terms of premiums, in terms of stuff they want people to spend money on, it's a bit of a mixed bag. I mean, clearly they put a lot of effort into the Puerto Rico and the dockyard, but the actual event itself was a mess. Hooray, a cruiser! Yeah, you will get so many overpens with these guns, but you might get lucky. I'm definitely a bit rusty with it though. I don't play the Izumo that much for fun. And it's basically an Izumo with slightly better Sigma that you will not notice except over a sufficiently large number of battles. Well, I guess we should actually aim for the Salem. There are also not that many ships over here. Hooray for overpens! Or, well, at least in that case it was a full pen. I kind of like the Izumo, but yeah, the guns are a bit trollish. The armour at least is pretty damn sturdy these days. That's a vast improvement on how it used to be. Hey, Jingles. Is there a Jingles? Oh, there is a Jingles. What dark sorcery indeed. The legends tell that such things happen occasionally from time to time. And there are hints that it's a sign of the apocalypse, which is, to be fair, fairly in keeping with various other continents being on fire or afflicted with plague or terrible pollution. So, It does rather fit in with the general scheme of things in that regard. Right, I think we're going to have to back off. They have more ships coming over here and we really don't. We are outnumbered right now.
So be it. Jedi.
Omnivorous Carrots with the resub. Thank you very much. Yeah, those battleships aren't being particularly forwards, but that's not necessarily a bad thing as far as I'm concerned. Oh, and an Henri. Yeah, we're backing off here. This is a bit too much juice.
Enemy battleship detected.
Fire.
Personally, I think our Fletcher should be trying to run the hell away. But what do I know? Also, is anyone else mildly disappointed that we don't have some kind of strange, snuffling, pig-voiced captain? Or is that just me? Certainly one of the more distinctive-looking special captains, although compared to some of the others, I suppose. You know, considering that you can have a captain that's literally a goldfish in a bowl. No, you're going less fast than I thought you were. Okay. It has slightly better Sigma than the Izumo. I think the actual dispersion curve is the same. So, over time, you will land more shots, but it's not a significant enough difference that you're going to notice it on a battle-per-battle basis. However, at least you can say that it is in some way an improvement over Izumo, although the penalty is that you have a slightly lower rate of fire to compensate for the slightly higher Sigma. And again, you won't really notice that on a per-battle basis. Wukong, on the other hand, is just worse, mostly because it doesn't have the main battery reload, and also is saddled with deep water torpedoes on top of that. So yes, there's more of a case for buying this than there is the Wukong, although obviously it's more expensive than the Wukong. But I'm not particularly enamoured with either of them, to be honest. Yeah, that was not bad, but yeah. I'm not exactly, despite the target-rich environment, I'm not exactly making out gangbusters here. In fact, I am steadily just burning to death at the moment. I think I'd better wait until my next heal is finished. Well, this is awkward. A little bit.
Enemy team has taken the lead.
The thing is, though, it's a hypothetical improvement. Well, it's not hypothetical, that's not the right word, but it's an improvement most people aren't going to notice just in the process of playing the ship. So it's kind of a hard selling point to say, well, you know, this is technically true, but you're not going to notice it. But it's better with the than with the Wukong, where you can go, well, it's worse, and you are going to notice it. To be honest, I'm not sure why they, given what they are the functional equivalent of the Black Friday ships, why they even changed any of the stats at all. They could have just made them straight copy-pastes. But I don't know, maybe it was supposed to give them a little more appeal. That they are, at least in theory, somewhat different. Even if it's only a little bit. I don't know. Kind of grasping at straws here. I'm more interested in knocking out that Salem at the moment. This is not looking too peachy, although it could be worse. Could certainly be worse.
Enemy destroyer sighted.
It's almost fine. Like, I get why there is some hate for it. And the buffs over the years have certainly been welcome. But for a lot of people, it's always just going to be that ship with the incredibly awkward turret arrangement. So it still, from that point of view, seems like a really odd choice for the premium treatment. No, not really having a lot of luck there. Let's switch to closer targets. Should probably kill my speed a bit, actually. There might well be Chung Mu Torps heading my way. No. Guess we've lost whatever spotting we had. Well, this is just all round jolly awkward. We're slowly, by degrees, killing this Salem, but yeah, it's taking a little while. Oh, there's the daring. Right, Chungmu's dead, that's useful. That was a nasty smack, that was probably the Conqueror. Yeah, it would have been.
Problem solved, sir.
Ugh. It's just been an awkward game all round. Hey, okay, I thought I might beat the torpedoes. I was wrong.
We've sprung a leak.
Yay,
We're
I'm
filling
dead.
up fast.
Enemy cruiser detected.
So, yeah,
So be it.
it's fine.
Jedi.
Sinissimo. It's usually incredibly awkward to play, but sometimes you'll get good games out of it. I mean, I could either take the chance there was torps in the water, which was a good chance, or I could swing the other way and head towards the group of ships that were going to kill me, and there would still be potentially torpedoes coming in the water anyway from that daring, so I was a bit screwed either way there. There was no good end to that scenario. Let's try the Scarnet again. That doesn't happen often. That's actually kind of rare for me, getting taken down by torpedoes like that. In my defense. Possibly a slightly lame defense. Also, I think I missed some subs. Carnivorous Carrot and P. Maquillard. Thank you very much for the subs. Hooray! No carrier! And we're top tier. Excellent. Okay, this is a lot better. Much, much better indeed.
So be it. Jedi.
And Dak Fitro with the Twitch Prime sub. Thank you very much. Huh, we're up to 50 viewers now. Hadn't even noticed. Well, obviously, I noticed just then. I thought we were still at 30 odd for some reason. Shows how much attention I've been paying to that. Is that a World of Warcraft thing, Malwo? Okay, that was just a guess. It sounded vaguely fantasy-ish. Oh, here's a fun factoid. I've met Jingles in person. Both, you know, actual Jingles, but also Warcraft Jingles. Jingles the Gnome. That Jingles. I'm not sure which one had the dirtier laugh, though. But that's really quite a hard one to decide. Right, this is a big enough cap that will. Wow, that's a ripped duck there, Foo. What was I saying? Oh yeah, big enough cap that I think we can not get spotted here. Oh, in fact, there is smoke. Is that really Jingles or just an actor playing him? Okay, I'm about to tell you something, but it doesn't go any further than us two, right? Okay, everybody else, close your ears. Nobody else is to listen to this. There isn't actually a Jingles. Paul Charlton is completely made up. He's actually played by Daniel Day-Lewis, but shh. I didn't tell you that, okay? You didn't hear that from me. Alright? Okay. Right, now back to what we were doing. Which is taking down this Ochotnik, who seems to have blundered out of the smoke that they... Oh, okay, not their smoke. There's still another destroyer. Here what? Exactly. Here nothing. There's nothing to here. What are you talking about? I didn't say anything.
Engine damage.
There we go. I knew I'd get unspotted eventually. Right, let's see if they're still in the same place. Possibly the Gallant, possibly the V-22. That wasn't particularly long-lasting smoke either way. Oh, they've backed off. Okay, that's good. We can continue just capping. I could heal up a little bit, but we'll let that sit for just now. I'll get the extra little kick out of adrenaline rush from that. See if we can't maybe make a drop on the Geyser now. Oh, no, he's back in the cap, and it's the T-22.
Engine boost activated.
Which is possibly among the sadder destroyers at Tier 5 in the game.
Enemy destroyer detected.
Critical engine damage. Problem solved, sir.
Right, let's pop a heal there. I don't think I properly started liking the German destroyers until the Mars, honestly. That was the point where I started to feel like, yeah, okay, I could happily grind this line to Tier 10, which I have now done. Took me a little while to get to the Z52, but yeah. That's my latest Tier 10 acquisition, and I am not displeased with it. Especially with the Legendary module. You really can pump out those torpedoes. Pew pew! Right, for a destroyer-on-destroyer engagement, that really wasn't so bad, but oh hello, there is that Geyser now that's quite close! Awkward! Let's hope he's not... I don't think he's full secondary. I'm not getting completely pelted by secondary guns here. Yeah, while his turret's in the wrong way, let's just...
Engine boost deactivated.
Bit of pew-pew of my own.
Enemy cruiser detected.
Right, they're in serious trouble. Well, the Agonizer now's not looking that much better off.
Your business is appreciated.
Ragnar, thank you for the follow. Oh! I'll take it.
Destroyed an enemy battleship.
Purely through skill, of course. I skillfully knew that that last tick of fire would be the one that would get the kill. Your sub didn't... oh. Yeah, it's not on the list, Menthel, but if you have resubbed, thank you all the same. Anyway, if you've played German destroyers, you know, that's my experience of the British heavy cruisers as well. They're just kind of, you know, there, and heavy cruisers and stuff. And that's all there is to say about them, really. But I don't mind that. I don't mind a line that isn't wholly reliant on...
Jedi.
Oh, there it is. Menthel with the 22 months. Yeah, a line that isn't just wholly reliant on some kind of gimmick, that is just a line of ships that does what you think it's going to do. May or may not land some hits on this Ismail. I have to do a replay of this. I should probably not say this while Jingles is listening, because he will totally steal this as a title idea for a video, but I have to someday do a video titled Call Me Ismail. Don't know why I've never done that before. I think maybe just because I haven't had a replay sent of that ship. Although I did want to also do a replay entitled Bogue 1, and now that ship isn't in the game anymore, so that one's just never going to happen, sadly. Stop turning! Stop using WASD hacks! This is not permitted. This is most definitely not permitted. Yeah, even with how fast these torpedoes are, people with WASD hacks can still avoid them. Let's try and get rather close to this Fuso, who will hopefully be a little less
Jedi.
skittish, given that I haven't been dumping torps at them. Marvin the Martian. Oh, probably not. You know, I don't know if I'm completely notorious, but I like to think semi-notorious for not being very good at predicting torpedo drops. I'm far from brilliant at it anyway, and there's plenty of video evidence to that effect.
Our team has taken the lead.
Boost activated.
Oh, yes please, Fubuki. That's welcome. I'm just about to get out of range anyway, but it means I can use it to go pew 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 pew.
Critical engine damage.
Right, well, that's two of the ticklers. Not a lot of damage,
Problem
but
solved, sir.
if I can get a fire going, that would be nice, although it does rather involve
Battleship sighted.
a bit of luck with RNG. Oh, curses! He's cheating! Report! Hacks! Hacks! He's not allowed to do that. Smoke gives you complete invulnerability as a destroyer. Everyone knows this. Shooting into smoke is cheating. Reported. My uncle works at Wargaming. Which would be kind of cool if it was true, but it's definitely not true. Oh, there's some gallant torps. Oh, it's turning all the way around. Oh well. Yes, exactly. He didn't respect the smoke at all. which is just not on. Can't be having that. Hey, there we go, there's a fire. Which hopefully will burn for a little bit. Oh, and there's a gallant. It's driving in a nice straight line for us. Well, rip Fubuki. However, I should be able to take him down. There we go.
Enemy destroyer sunk.
Oh! That's a cruiser. Well, it's not that close though, it's fine.
Engine boost deactivated.
But still, don't want to get hit by heavy cruiser HE shells. I suspect I would not enjoy it much. And I was correct. I did not enjoy it much at all.
Victory is in sight.
This is turning out to be a not terrible damage game so far. But a lot more of that is various kinds of ticking damage rather than primary sources. Right, are you ducking back behind that island? What are you doing? Hey, Ezra Gurney. Your dog is very stupid. Is it by any chance a Blonderhound, aka Labrador, or possibly a Dalmatian? The stupidest dog I ever knew was a Dalmatian. It literally had to have part of its tail amputated because it was wagging it too hard and constantly banging it against surfaces, and there would just be little smears of blood everywhere from this open tail wound. It wouldn't stop, you know, it was clearly in pain, but it wouldn't stop bashing its tail uncoordinatedly into kitchen cabinets and doors and walls and whatever. It was pretty thick. It was a nice dog, but it was very thick. A whippet. Her hobbies are licking sofas and running, okay. Does that mean you own a flat cap and hang out in betting shops? That's my vision of, you know, people that own whippets. Right, that looks like another torp hit. Yeah, it was dedicated. It was very dedicated to the concept of wagging its tail, regardless of, you know, whatever cries of fresh horror its owners might be not expecting. That's completely the wrong word. You know, making when it leaves bloody smears all over the place and looks like there's been a serial killer on the loose. But, you know, the dog was happy. That's the main thing. Anything that doesn't reach my knee isn't a dog, it's a rat. Okay.
Battle ends in 5 minutes.
I'm all out of heal, so I don't particularly want to risk trying to get super close. I don't think I've really got the speed or the hit points to try dashing in for a kill anyway. But in the pan-European destroyers, you've got to wait till somebody's pretty low health before you try such a thing. Oh, never mind, we won on points there. Yeah, you don't want to cross Boo. Right, yeah, didn't really do much damage towards the end of that, but that was not completely terrible. And by the bizarrity of the scoring system, I've somehow ended up top of the team. Oh, yes, Fu, I saw your, possibly a little later, like 4 PM my time, if that's alright. Sorry, yeah, I completely meant to respond to that and then didn't. I wonder if by any chance that Bajie game was a win. It was kind of going either way, but they brought it back, so kudos to them. And I apparently still placed halfway up the team. I don't know what to go for next. We're getting into the last half hour or so. In fact, there might only be time for one more game, although there might be time for two. So what I'm going to do is try and get my Iowa daily, because I've been regrinding this line. And apparently I haven't even set up this ship yet. I reset this line for the Research Bureau points, as you can see by the little marker there. And finally got through the North Carolina. It was a bit of a torturous grind. I didn't remember finding the North Carolina that much of a pain to play, but it kind of was a lot of the time. I had some decent games in it though, but I also spent a lot of time getting rather frustrated by the guns. What's the base range? I don't think we want to do anything that increases our range at all. Let's go for AA guns modification. The range is frankly good enough. Right, dispersion module, we'll have that. I know it's not, like, I know it's me, I know it's not the ship, it just somehow doesn't fit with the playstyle I like. And I don't know if that's just a thing that's evolved over time as well, because I don't remember having that much issue the first time I went through the North Carolina. Somehow I just found it kind of, I don't know if frustrating is so much the right word as off-putting. I had to make myself play it, I guess. Let's see, let's use some of the, where are they? See, now the common ones are back up at the top, and I don't know why it does that. It's shifted everything around again. What am I looking for? Those ones. There we go. The CC camos. Yeah, there are definitely sometimes, I had this with World of Tanks as well. The famous example for me personally is the E75, where nobody could quite figure out why I didn't get along with it after going, oh yeah, it's the perfect tank for you, you'll love it. And then I just never could make it. Maybe just because my expectation had been set so high for playing it, like, oh yeah, it's this brilliant ship, you'll love it, it fits your playstyle exactly, and then somehow it just did not click at all. Let's see, no, that's a money one. XP. Don't need the commander XP so much. XP for battle, isn't there one that's 75? Yes, there we go. Basilisk. Got space for one more. Hydra, I guess. And that'll give me some bonus elite captain XP, so that's fine. And I think that's everything. Sometimes I forget to do things. I could blow some free XP on modules, but let's try a game stock. Comparatively low on credits, yes. I mean, part of it was outfitting the Pan-European line, but also part of it was buying the Iowa and the Z52 as well, which ate up a huge chunk of credits all at once. Eight carriers. I think our chances are good at... Yes, there we go. We've got one. But it's a tier 8. So that's not too bad. I might actually finish off with the Z52 game. I haven't hated it. I certainly have played it and enjoyed it more than the couple of games I've played in the Yang, that's for sure.
Action stations.
Right, I guess I'm going to swing out a little on the flank. We don't have to worry about destroyers too much. Certainly plenty of cruisers that could be nasty. Well, mainly the Worcester. The Hindenburg, of course, can set fires, but Venezia and Neptune really can't. And Yoshino's HE can be nasty, but they tend to fire it from much longer ranges. Hey, Hildebrand, I'm not doing too badly. I felt up to streaming today, at least, which I guess says something. I've just realised for that last game I forgot to put on the work in progress logo, but you guys know that it was, right? Or are you all busy reporting me to Wargaming? I haven't reached the daring yet, but it's not a line I'm desperate to finish. In fact, am I still at the Lightning, or did I get the Jutland already? I don't know. I tend to take my time with grinding lines. The only time I've ever particularly pushed hard on going back up through line has been well, this is now the second line I've reground for the Research Bureau. I basically poured all the camos and flags into just grinding back through as quickly as possible. Iowa, by the way, I like just fine. I don't know what it is about North Carolina versus Iowa.
Enemy battleship sighted.
It means I've struggled with one and find the other just perfectly fine to play.
Enemy battleship detected.
At least a part of it with the North Carolina is the tremendous amount of drag that the shells have. I think the shell travel times are a bit better with the Iowa.
The ship is on fire.
Well, that's a little bit of attention we're getting there.
Enemy cruiser detected.
I wonder if we can sufficiently tuck ourselves. In against this island to protect from Neptune fire. I don't know.
The ship is on fire.
now, not going so fast as well. That is kind of broadside. Probably heal to counteract that fire. That was not so good. I think we might we might try and get unspotted at this point and see if I can't start re-maneuvering. Good news is the Worcester can't really hit me from where they are. There we go.
Problem solved, sir.
Well, bear in mind, Marceau, it's not just blizzards.
Your business is appreciated.
Blizzards is Activision Blizzard. As I understand it, more of the kind of old Blizzard hands have been leaving over time. Right, the good news is my heal is almost back as well. Bad news is we could really do with a cap. That Worcester being there is a little annoying. If the Kremlin had decided they were going to push, I might have tried to be a bit more aggressive here, but yeah. Didn't necessarily seem like the best move. I don't like how much broadside I'm showing to the Izumo here.
The ship is on fire.
Really? 2 bounces. That's all I get. Okay. This is really not looking so good, is it? It's a bit of a shambles everywhere, to be honest. Can't push around that corner how I want to without giving massive amounts of broadside to somebody. I mean, if I just charge around like this, the Alabama's going to have perfect shots. Ugh, fire. Let's put that out. And the Daring seems uninclined to try and flag further around, but I guess the Worcester being there is kind of a major inhibitor. So, yeah, this is just all round a big pile of awkward. If I was in a German ship, I might be able to take the risk. Although I would quite possibly still die in the process, but in the Iowa, that's just going to eat you a big old pile of citadel
damage. Your business is appreciated.
Which isn't going to get me anywhere particularly quick. However, if the Daring kills the Alabama, that will free me up to press forwards rather more. Go on, daring. Live up to your name. Do it. Do it now. Well, it has been a slow, steady drip of changes over the last year, Hilty. I mean, everyone's now worse off financially, that's for sure.
The enemy is about to win.
Right, there we go. That is as pleasing a broadside as one could ask for.
The ship is on fire.
And of course, I get nothing from it. Alas, alack. If this Vladivostok would come out and play, that might be quite useful. Otherwise, I'm just going to die to the Worcester right quick. Come on, RNGesus. Give me them citadels. Or, you know, just all of the overpens, that's fine as well, I suppose.
The enemy is about to win.
Come on, I need citadels. I need them. I need them to die, or I'm gonna die. At this point, I might as well even just go for the Izumo ram, quite frankly. Or not. Because Kremlin. Oh, that was a bit chunkier. Took out the gun. 5 overpens. Is the Vladivostok shooting HE? Yes, the Vladivostok is in fact shooting HE. Excellent. However, he's now low enough health that we might do this. And again, the Kremlin gets the kill. Hooray! I had so much fun being a Worcester punching bag. Oh well. I took a lot of damage there. It's only 1.4 million potential. Well, the Eurozone generally is not growing particularly well at the moment in terms of economical stuff. Captain True, so... It's not like the UK economy is doing amazingly well by comparison, it's just doing better. I mean, I think part of it is the fact that the question of us actually leaving is now settled, so people can now make more concrete plans than they were able to previously. I don't think we're winning this one somehow.
The enemy is about to win.
Yes, clearly that's exactly what I'm saying. Buff Kremlin plus Kremlin weak. I think we might make this the last game. I don't think I'm going to have time for another one before 7 o'clock, which is when I need to finish. So it will be a bit of a disappointing final game, but never mind. We've had some okay ones. I got to show off some of the new ships. Are you going for the Ram, Venezia? Not Venezia, Kremlin. There is a Venezia, in my defence. I'm not just randomly naming a ship. Right, I actually did a little bit of team damage, not that it mattered there. Let's put the fighter up.
Fighter airborne. The ship is on fire.
Really? 5 bounces? Really? Really, RNGesus? You're going to give me 5 bounces? Okay. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Problem solved, sir.
Right, battle of the secondaries right now. I can't do it! I can't get a kill! It's just not happening. Not that it matters. We are so very doomed. Come on, Orange Jesus! There we go! Finally.
Enemy cruiser destroyed.
Though, I think this might be my doom. Hello, Shikaku! Yeah. Oh well.
Battle ends in 5 minutes.
I did! I got one in the end! Hooray! Didn't actually matter at all. Our map control was fairly terrible. I mean, look how close we are on ships and how not close we are on points. Oh well. So yeah, that's about it, I think. Let's find someone to host. There's enough time to do that at least. There's bound to be someone playing the boaty boat things. Fosh is doing tanks. Although if anyone was desperately interested in tanks, they would probably know that already. Flambass. I don't know who that guy is. Flam who? No, that's somebody else. Totally different. Yeah, anyway. Let's have a look-see. I don't know most of these names. Scott, I vaguely recognise. What clan are they in? Let's host Scott. I don't know if I've hosted them before, but let's do that. So yeah, thank you all for tuning in. That was at least a decent-ish damage game in the end. A little bit troll, but never mind. And hopefully, if you, you know, have enjoyed it, you'll go and check out my YouTube and whatever else as well. And yeah, have a good evening wherever you are. And I will catch you all for the next one.